give us benefit. Now, while these 7 cards are in every single game of Dominion, you're never going to see them you're never going to see a game of Dominion without these 7 cards. Um, these cards will switch up from time to time. There's 10 here. Usually, there is 10 Kingdom cards. Occasionally, other cards will factor in more piles, and eventually we'll get into events and landmarks, which will be a whole nother beast to tackle for another day. But for right now, we're just focused on these 10. What should we buy first? I think we want to buy a militia first. It'll give us some good currency. Okay, he bought a militia too. It'll give us some good currency, and it will also slow our opponent down as well. Now we have 3. Now I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't do, but I want to show you. We're going to buy a seller, and we're going to buy a seller because I want to show that you can leave money on the table, basically. If you have 12 coin, if you somehow get enough treasure out in play and enough currency from other cards, maybe from militia, to get 12 coin, and you just want to buy a province, you can do that. And you'll have 4 left over, and that 4 will kind of go to waste unless you have an additional buy and you can use that 4 coin elsewhere. So let's say that you have 2 buys. If you have 2 buys and you have 12 coin, you could buy a province and, say, a smithy, an 8 and a 4. If you don't have that additional buy, if you haven't played market during that turn, or any other card that would give you additional buys, you would only be able to buy 1 card, and you'd usually take the province instead of the smithy at that point. So we have 3 coin here. We're going to look at getting a silver. Silver will help our buying power as well. I already said that I was going to buy seller, and I didn't do that. That's my mistake. Well, maybe we'll buy a seller another turn. So he played a militia, so we have to discard down to 3. So we're going to discard our coppers because they're the least valuable part of our hand right now. So that's our action phase. We're going to play militia, and it caused him to discard 2 cards, and we got our 2 coins. So he discarded down to 3 cards in hand. We got our 2 coins, and you can see that right here. Right here. That's our total amount of coin that's in play right now. So if we play our silver, that's going to go up to 4. And we play our copper, that's going to go up to 5, and we're going to buy a market. Market is a good all-around card because it gives you a card in action, so you're able to draw a card immediately back and possibly play another action if you have in your hand. It gives you an additional buy, and it gives you additional coin. It's just like the Jack of all trades of cards, except for the card Jack of all trades, which is another expansion. We won't be looking at that today, probably. I don't know. So we're going to play 3, and we're actually going to get a merchant. Merchant will give us a card in an action, and the first time we play a silver during that turn, it will give us +1 coin. So our silvers will be basically, one of our silvers will basically be worth a gold if we play this merchant during the same turn that we play the silver. So we're discarding down to 3. We don't really, these estates, they don't really do anything during your turn. Occasionally with later expansions, there will be benefits to having victory cards in your hand. I can think of a card called Shepherd, which allows you to discard victory cards and draw more cards for discarding them. But for right now, our estates aren't all that valuable, so we're going to discard an estate and a copper, and we're going to be down to 3, unfortunately. And we're going to buy another silver. Now we're going to play our market first so that we can draw a card. We got a copper, as it tells us in the log. And now we have this additional action that we can use to play our militia. We're going to auto-play our treasures, and we have 2 buys and 7 coins. So we could buy something that costs a 5 and a 2, like a market and a moat. We could buy something that costs a 4 and a 3, like a smithy and a village. We could just buy something that costs 6, like a gold, and leave that 1 extra coin on the table. You usually don't want to buy coppers because they're just going to clog your deck. Eventually, when you have like just golds and silvers in your deck, you don't want as many coppers because the golds and silvers are more valuable. For right now, I think we're going to do a market and a moat because I want to talk about reaction cards. Reaction cards, you might be wondering why this moat card is blue and all the other action cards are white. It's because moat is also a reaction card, and reaction cards are colored blue. So Moat will give you +2 cards when you play it like a normal action, but you can also play it by as a reaction card. And that means basically what it says here. When another player plays an attack card, like a militia, You may first reveal this from your hand to be unaffected by it. So Moat's special. Moat will allow you to react to your opponent's militia or other attack cards. There are other attack cards in the game other than militia, but this is the only one that we're playing with right now. So if our opponent plays a militia and they have this Moat in hand, we can just show it and say, nah, I don't want to be affected by that discard. So we won't have to discard down to 3 cards in hand. We'll see if that comes up in this game. Maybe it won't. So we're going to play our merchant, get a card in action. I wanted to draw a silver there so that we could make use of its secondary ability, but we're not going to be able to do that. So we'll play our militia. He doesn't have a Moat. As you can see, there's 9 cards, 9 Moats left, and I have one of them. So he doesn't have a Moat, so he has to discard. We'll autoplay our treasures, and we're gonna get a remodel here. Now I'm being a little bit greedy with my action cards because I'm buying a few that don't give additional actions. So if I drew a militia and a Moat in the same turn and no other action cards, I would not be able to play them both. I would have to choose which one I want to play because neither of them give additional actions. Luckily that didn't happen here. We're going to play our market. And we're going to play our Moat because our market gives additional action. And here is a prime example of why you would want, when you're buying a lot of action cards, you want cards like Village, because Village will give you 2 actions. So if I had played Village first there instead of Market and then drew with Moat, I would still have a second action to play this other Market. Unfortunately, I don't. I had the 1 action from the start of my turn. I played the Market and use that action that I gained from market to play Moat. So now we're in our buy phase, and we're going to have 5 coin to spend and 2 buys, and we're going to buy another market. And we don't want to buy anything else because the only things that we can afford are Copper and Curse for 0, so we don't want either of those. We're just going to end. Now here is what I was talking about with the reactions. He's playing our militia. He's forcing us to discard down to 3. But we have this Moat in hand. So we are going to react with the Moat and be completely unaffected by it. So this is just a little bit of a briefing. We're going to resign from this because our opponent is ready for our match. Then we are going to, we'll come back to this.